So glad that you guys are here today because I know everyone is busy getting set up for the season, Christmas, and we only have 4 days. And I know that people are shopping around and things like that and super busy and trying to prepare for whatever you do for Christmas, whether you have dinner, have family over and that type of thing. And so I really appreciate the fact that you guys are here with me today. And we'll see how many people will show up. So how is everybody doing here so far? Are you guys having a good Friday? Are you almost ready for Christmas? Do you have family coming over? One of my daughters will be here any minute now, and she's going to be here actually for the week up until I think Wednesday. So I'm really happy about that. Unfortunately, my other daughter works retail, as I've mentioned before, so she's not going to really be around. I have my green tea now. I am so happy. Oh, that's great. So you were able to get back into, was it Walmart to get your tea? Yeah, so I don't actually have tea right now because I'm trying to get this done before everybody gets here, trying to relax after a day of cooking and packing. Oh, well, cooking and packing is a good thing, right? And yes, relaxing is definitely a good thing. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and people will just have to jump in and watch this on replay. I'm really excited about this topic that I'm going to share with you guys today. And this just came to me this morning, early this morning, trying to think of what I'm going to share with you guys. And this is one of the things that I think is just so important, and that is having a positive attitude. And, you know, I have to say that I did not grow up in the most positive environment. And I think that it becomes sometimes a lifestyle for people in the way they think, definitely. And so I really do not know when, I couldn't pinpoint the time when I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to be positive about things, because it's easy to be negative in every situation in life. You know, someone cuts you off, they don't serve you properly, etc., etc., and it can really set up your day, can't it? When you think, you know, oh, the injustice of not getting my food in time or fast enough, you know, things like that. And sometimes it's just really not worth it to think negatively about it and then carry it on the rest of the day. So anyway, I just want to touch on that a little bit, and I'm going to recommend a book for you guys that I actually just dug back up recently. And it was because I was cleaning something up my bookshelf and I found it and I thought, oh my gosh, this is one of those gems that I've always loved reading. I am learning to be positive for myself and to others. It's challenging. Yes, it's very challenging, because guess what? It took a lifetime of negativity, especially, I'm not saying you're negative all the time, but I'm just saying when you have those negative thoughts, yay, I love book recommendations. Oh, good. This is going to be a good one, I tell you. And so a lot of times it's a mindset that we have, and we get stuck in that, don't we? And so anyway, for 2019, don't you want to be happier? Don't you want to be more positive? Don't you want to have more of a can-do attitude? I know I do. I think I'm a pretty positive person, but when it comes down to it, you know, I don't know. And this book I'm going to recommend is going to have a little test in there. I know I've taken the test before and it did show that I'm positive, but I'm going to retake it again in the next couple of days. Anyway, talking about that, most people do think that they have a positive attitude when really they're not even close to it. And a lot of times it's the things that we let into our minds and in our lives. And so let me see. Oh, here I wrote some notes. I read this and it said, it's not a feeling, being positive or having a positive attitude. It is not a feeling. It is a state of mind. It is self-induced. You are in complete control of it, and you determine what your attitude is or isn't. And I talked about joy, the difference between joy and happiness. I think it was on Vlogmas day number 2. And it kind of goes along with this same type of thing, right? So again, I had talked about joy is on the inside, and it is something that basically it doesn't have anything to do with happens to you with the circumstances. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of quotes here. This one here says, you become what you think about all day long. Earl Nightingale. Is that not true? When you think of it, you become it. You keep thinking negative thoughts, you're just gonna, what are you gonna put out? Negative things, right? It's your thoughts behind the words you speak that create your attitude. What are you putting in your mind? And what are you taking out? Again, it creates your attitude. So a couple of things that these are, I'm just touching really briefly on a couple of things that you can start before reading this whole book, and to become more positive, to become more of a positive person. Number 1, surround yourself with positive people and positive things. Do you do that? Do you surround yourself with those things? Do you read and listen to positive books, or do you listen to depressing books? Do you saturate yourself with news? I know some people who read and listen to news all day long, and it's the first thing that they listen to and think about. And guess what? News is typically depressing. They give you the sensationalized views of things most of the time, and so it's going to be depressing. And you know, I'm not saying that you don't want to know what's going on in the world. Of course you do. But do you saturate yourself with a lot of news? Do you surround yourself with all that all day long? Because if that's all you think about all day long, you are not going to be positive, because I think we can all agree the majority of it is very negative. By saying all things in a positive way. Not to say that, for instance, that I have to do this. I have to do this. Instead, say, I get to do this. I get to do this, whatever it is, right? Say it in that way instead of going, oh man, I gotta do this. I get to do this, because you know what? You're very fortunate that you get to do this. You get to do a lot of things. You know, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I think about even my recent knee surgery. I am not supposed to be walking long distances right now. And I think to myself, man, when I see people who I don't want to make a judgment here necessarily, but basically who, for instance, have to park very close to the store that they're going to when they can walk. You know, I think how much we take advantage of those things. And, you know, it's, again, instead of going, oh man, I can't find parking, I'm gonna have to park far, and so I'm gonna have to walk far to get to the store. If you're able to do it, my gosh, I get to, not that, I have to, right? I mean, it's such a small thing, I know, but I took it for granted that I could just walk, and I can just get up and walk 10,000 steps a day, you know? And now I can't do that. I'm not supposed to be walking that much, and it's really very hard. And so anyway, I'm off on a tangent here a little bit, but you know what I'm saying. So instead of saying I have to, I get to. Another thing is I cannot do this or I cannot do that. Instead, say, I can do this, or I will try to do this. I will try my best to do this. Yes, I can do this, instead of I cannot. You know, so many times we think of what we cannot do instead of what we can do. You know, it is a muscle. Being positive is a mindset, like I said, and it is like a muscle that you have to use constantly, continuously, in order for it to get built up. You're not going to just wake up. If you generally have a negative attitude, you're not going to just wake up and go, oh, I'm positive today. It is a constant feeding of your mind and your thoughts and what you involve yourself in. And so, you know, try to be positive. Let's see. Oh, this book actually has a test, and on here it's basically an attitude test. And so you can take this test and see where you score. I'm going to do that, like I said, in a couple of days here. And then the last quote that I just want to go over really quick here is this quote that says, after my house burned down, I saw the moon more clearly. It's an old Zen saying. What a positive attitude, right? And I'm going to tell you guys a really quick story. And this is another reminder, being that it's Christmas in a couple of days. Several years ago, I think it was about 2008. I can't remember now exactly, but we were home, and we were in, which is my studio now here at home, my home studio. And we were sitting there on the couch, and as a family sitting, and we were watching a movie or something like that on my big computer screen. And it was myself, my husband, and my two daughters. And I remember we were sitting there on the couch, just snuggled up together, watching a movie. And it was Christmas Day. And what happened is, all of us, earlier that day, like a few hours before that, my husband, who was sick, so he had a cold. He couldn't smell very well, but he said something kind of smells like it's burning. And he said, you know, do you guys smell that? And we're like, kind of, but I think it's just people turning on their fireplaces, because it had been raining, and there were some men working on some things. It was Edison. They were working on, I think, electricity or something like that earlier that day. And so we're like, it's been raining. It's probably what we're smelling. People are turning on their fires. Anyway, so then my sister-in-law was with us, and then she leaves, and then we're going into my room, and we're sitting there and just enjoying ourselves, enjoying some family time. And all of a sudden I looked up, and it's an enclosed little room, okay? And this is, I think, how I noticed it. I looked up and I saw on the vent, there was some smoke coming out. And I was just like, whoa, what is that smoke? And so my husband got up and he said, let me go check the attic. And he said, no, actually, I need to go. I'll go to work and get a ladder, because I don't think we have a tall enough ladder here. And I said, well, okay. I said something snarky, jokingly or whatever. But I said something like, okay, don't take too long in case the house is on fire. Seriously, not even thinking anything of it. I just thought there was some smoke. It just happened so fast. I wasn't really thinking, you know, or anything about it too much. And so he says, you know what? No, let me see what I can do. Let me find a ladder. So he proceeds to go upstairs, and he opens up the to the attic, the little door to the attic, and he definitely smells smoke. And he could see some smoke coming out, but it wasn't anything, it wasn't a fire or anything. It's just a little bit of smoke. And so I remember I got on the phone and I said, I called 911. And at the same time, I was thinking, should I call 911? Maybe I shouldn't call 911 because it's Christmas, and you know, I don't want to bother them, blah, blah, blah. But then something told me, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to call 911. So long story short, I called 911 and I mentioned, hey, so there's a smoke coming out from our attic. I'm not sure what it is. And I'm talking like this. And the woman said to me, get out of the house now. And I was just like, what? And it did, I, I didn't even argue at that point. It just woke me up and I said, we need to get out of the house now. So we got gathered. At that time I was a photographer, and so I had a laptop that was out because I was working on some stuff. I made sure that all my discs were in my little safe that you can lock, and it's supposed to be fireproof. I put all of that, whatever I had. I didn't put anything in it. I just made sure that it was locked for some reason. Walked around the house, picked up my computer, picked up a couple of things, and then walked out the door. And we walked out the door, and not even 5 minutes, the house was in flames. Flames coming out from the top of the roof. And long story short, I'm going to make this really short. I got away from that after all of that happened. Days later, I literally, and I'm not just saying this, and I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back, I was on cloud 9. And do you know why I was on cloud 9? It lasted me a month, and I'm not even kidding. The reason why is because I realized that, man, I could lose everything, but my family was spared, and that's wonderful. And you know, my friends were like, how, this is so devastating. You know, we had to move out of the house. We had to be in a hotel for like 2 weeks, and then we had to rent a house because we couldn't stay in the house. I mean, it was burned. The top of our house was burned, and we had a lot of things that burnt. But again, there's so many details, so many things that I got out of that moment. But I was so ecstatic, really, for a month. Not even kidding, because my attitude was looking towards the positive instead of the negative. Now, was it a negative thing? Of course it was. It was a hard, almost, I think it was over a year before we finally got back into our home. We had contractor problems. We had all kinds of things happening. But I kept focusing on the fact that my family is intact. And man, I realized, you know something in your head a lot of times, but to really have an experience where it really, you are sure and you are convinced, that was one of those moments where I knew my family was important to me. I know that. But yet, having come close to something really bad happening made me realize they really are the most important thing to me. And I am just thankful that we were still intact. And so, all that to say, I hope that you guys begin, if you are not the type of person that is always thinking positive, I would suggest that maybe you look into this book and you try to be more positive, because we could use more happy people in this world, more kind people in this world, right? And so this is the book I want to go ahead and recommend to you guys. And I'm going to put a link to it down below, and feel free to make a comment, and I'll put the link so that you can pick it up through Amazon if you would like. But this is Jeffrey Gitomer's Little Gold Book of Yes Attitude, and I am telling you, it is a gold mine. It is a gem. Just going through this and looking at just even the quotes that he quotes in here, it's just that in itself is worth it. But you get to learn so much in it. And like I said, there is a part that is going to give you a assessment of whether you really are a positive person. And it would be kind of cool if you guys would do this and let me know what you think and how you score on that. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. But again, this is called the yes attitude. And I hope that this is something that will help you in the future and that you could recommend it to others. Tough day today. I needed to hear this. Thank you. Oh, Judith, thank you. And I will pray for you because we can all have tough days. But again, it's what and how we react to those things is what is going to make a difference in our lives. And so, yes, let's have a yes attitude for 2019. And you guys, if you have anything at all to comment, whether you have other positive books that you would recommend, whether you tell me a story about what has happened to you that maybe could be looked upon by the world in general as negative, but you turned it into positive, I would love to hear that. So please comment that below. And I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. We have 4 days before Christmas. I'm going to try to vlog a couple more times for Vlogmas before Christmas or Christmas Eve, but I can't make any promises because I really want to spend time with my family. And if I can do it really quickly, I will do that, but I will try my best. But if not, we will see you on Thursday when we do Tea Talk Thursday, at least then. Or I also have a video that I'm going to be uploading really soon. And so you guys, God bless you. If I don't talk to you until later on, Merry Christmas. Oh, and Merry Christmas to you, Dawn. Merry Christmas to all of you guys. I hope that you get a time with your family and your friends and that you have a safe Christmas, safe holiday, and that as 2019 rolls around, I hope that you guys will just think positive and have a great 2019, and look at 2018 as look at the great things that has happened to you. Again, we talked about the gratitude journal and all of that a couple of Vlogmases ago. You guys look into, instead of going, oh, I'm glad 2018 is over. Let's not say that. Let's go, you know what? I learned a lot in 2018, and 2019 is just going to be better. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and go. Again, thank you so much for hanging out. And as usual, keep on documenting life as it happens. Bye-bye.